Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Horse Geeks podcast, where we look at horses and riding from the inside out. I'm Kirsten Nelson, professional horse trainer, and with me is my co-host, Deborah Miro, certified Alexander Technique instructor. And so today's topic is about boring, boring,
We are
boring.
so boring.
Oh my God. So boring equals safety, or like those are
Mm,
opposite internal sensation, internal emotional states. Like when we don't feel safe, we're never bored. When
wow.
we have to feel safe in order to feel bored. Because once we're bored, we're looking for excitement. We're looking for something to do. And so
Yeah.
like
What's driving that?
people think the opposite
Wow.
of feeling safe is feeling fear, but I go, the opposite of
Mm,
feeling fear is feeling bored. And so you have to feel safe in order to feel bored. And when we slow things down, like you
mm.
and I work on internal coordination stuff, right?
Right. People can't see
Internal
it. Yeah.
mental emotional states.
Hmm.
It's very subtle. It's like we talked about, I think a few podcasts ago, what we see visually on the outside is the last piece of what happens. It's the
Right.
final sort of manifestation of all these changes that are taking place on the inside that we can't see, that are subtle, but we have to feel safe in order to change habits of coordination or reinforce internal states that help us think more clearly, act more
Mhm.
cooperatively, avoid trouble in our lives, or turn around bad behavior in horses. I go, that's the key to it is, and
Yeah, what comes up for me is, do you remember when you were back in the day, you were riding hunter and jumper courses and you get done and you're like, I don't remember a thing. Did
you're
I
focused
breathe?
on the next line, the next
It's
jump, the
it's
next
the
line, the
it's
next
that
jump.
yeah,
Mhm.
it's that constantly seeking the next thing.
Well, I think that to the human brain feels like progress.
Ah,
And we
mm,
don't think we're growing or learning or
mhm.
advancing towards our goals unless we're in a slight state of stress.
I agree.
Whether
Or a
that's,
slight state of what I consider a negative stress. Because there's positive stressors, and then you can flip the switch and make it a completely negative internal thing, like shutting down.
I think that
Yeah.
has to do on a physical level with amounts. Like the amount
Mm,
of stress can be positive or negative.
right.
So
And
everybody
right.
kind of has a threshold that's unique and individual where it tips from a positive stress into a negative stress. Like where it becomes strengthening is a positive stress,
Right.
and where it becomes weakening is a negative stress.
Yeah.
Whether we're talking mental, emotional, or physical, it's stress is stress in the nervous system. And I think when we have our individual amount called too much,
Mhm.
it shifts from positive to negative. But I think because a little bit of stress is going to happen in growth and development, we think more is better. But it's like, no, it
Yeah,
flips.
take one. Oh, one
Yeah.
works, the American way. If you take one, take five. You'll be better. Or
No,
is
and
this
that's
right?
what,
Is this right? Is this right? That thought of, constantly questioning.
well, and I love thinking in terms of balance because what
Hmm.
balance does is it pulls you back from that kind of thinking that more is better.
Yes.
Because if you're looking for balance, the result of balance is ease, efficiency,
Boring.
gracefulness, power, well, all the exciting stuff is what comes out of regulating our nervous system. It's what comes out of developing
Right.
a balanced or a healthy coordination according to the human body or the horse body. And so once that, when we feel safe more often than we don't, right? We learn faster, we integrate skills more deeply, we change habits more easily, we advance faster. Like that's
Right.
what the feeling of dominance in the parasympathetic nervous system provides to both a person or a horse,
Right.
right? And so we can feel not calm, mild, moderate, or extreme degrees, right? And somewhere between mild and moderate is that individual's threshold where the stress goes from a positive thing for the individual and flips into a negative thing for the
Right.
individual.
And knowing your own threshold and giving yourself permission to come
Mhm.
back to mental, psychological, central nervous system safety
Right. Because
is
if,
key instead of going, oh, I got to push harder.
right. And so
Yeah.
the fastest way I know to help horses turn around behavior is to make everything so boring that the nervous system just calms and stabilizes and horses start to self-regulate. But my question is sort of if I have a super excited horse, whether it's an aggressive horse or a highly anxious horse, I go, how can I reduce the demands until it's so easy the horse can do it and it's always in the realm of boring. I go, it kind of has to be boring in order to let the nervous system feel safe. Let
Right.
that
And it's,
individual feel
it's
safe.
the research studies on, we talked about this before, kids in school. If they're, going in fear based or constantly in that excitatory phase, whatever's causing it, it could be what I noticed when I was working in an elementary school, that the teachers themselves were in this excitatory phase of, okay, we got to get this done and we got to get this done and we got to get this done, and oh, look at the time and get in line, and all of that just keeps the kids up in an excitatory phase and
Hmm.
not really in a learning frame of mind.
Yeah. No, and the learning frame of mind is just sort of an abbreviation for dominance of the parasympathetic nervous system within the individual. I go, because that's kind of a mouthful. But the learning frame of mind, and as far as training goes, dominance of the parasympathetic nervous system sends information from the from the peripheral nervous system to the central nervous system in a different way. So it
Right.
stimulates a different part of the brain than when the the sympathetic, what did I just say? Sympathetic or parasympathetic? I can't remember now. Anyways, sympathetic is the fight flight, right?
Right.
And that is going to gather information through the peripheral nervous system, through our five senses, and it's going to send that information in the fight flight dominance to the limbic part of the brain. So it's going to activate instincts, it's going to activate survival patterns,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it keeps us locked in a survival state. And so in a survival state, i- we don't feel cooperative, we feel antagonistic because we're
Right.
defending ourselves,
Right.
right?
It's armor. It's like an armor.
Right. That's how we
We armor
survive.
ourselves, as we say. Yeah.
And when the
And so
rest
do
and
horses.
right.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's the same nervous system function. It's exactly the same between horses and people. What stimulates it into dominance of fight or flight or dominance of rest and digest, that can be really different. That can be totally different between people. It's very different between horses and people,
Mm-hmm.
and it can be different amongst horses. So that's kind of the wild card. But we can see it in energy and body language and mental focus and behavior. So if we want cooperation, then we have to be boring enough that the horse or the person feels safe because now the same peripheral nervous system, the same five senses are gathering information, sending it to the central nervous system, but it's lighting up and stimulating the frontal cortex part of the brain, which is
The
where
learning part.
the learning part, or what we call the conscious part, versus the limbic is the unconscious part. So now, what's really interesting about the frontal cortex, whether it's people or horses, is that's where we have choice and imagination. So, like the research is, they do these card sorting tests, and it's the use of the frontal cortex that allows us to look at a deck of playing cards and organize it according to color or suit or number, right? That's choice. That's how we sort of test capacity of choice is through that ability to take these same objects, but they have different numbers, different colors, different suits,
Mm-hmm.
right? And with horses, I can't remember which research paper it is. I'll have to go back and look, but horses are more binary,
Ah,
like,
like XOXO,
yeah, or zeros and ones, like a
zeros and
computer.
ones. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so we can think of horses like they have great memories. So people thought they were stupid because they would keep making the same choice, right? That was
And
one
we
of the
call it a
research
mistake instead of
products,
a choice
right? And so
in our book.
people thought horses were less intelligent than
Mm.
dolphins or monkeys or a different creature that made a faster change of choice. But I go, but horses have exceptional memories. So I can just see the horse scratching his head going, I know this is where that treat was.
Yeah,
Like, I know this is where it was. And going back to the same
a
stimulus over and
repetitive. Yeah.
over, right?
Hmm.
But as soon as they learn that it can move around, they change their choice faster,
Yeah,
right?
I've had that experience. I just got a new horse in Saturday that was negatively treat driven. And just in the 48 hours he's been here, I don't do that. He came looking and I was like, nope, not happening. And he
So
was
what do
like,
you mean negatively treat driven?
so giving him treats to do something. So he was constantly getting a treat before an activity, you know,
Oh, like a
just,
bribe.
yeah, a bribe. That's a good way to put it. I like that. And just in a short amount of time, our relationship is like, nope, we don't do that.
Yeah,
And he's like, okay, got it.
yeah. Oh, and that's what I mean, that we have all these different tactics that come out of that lack of safety sensation, right? So a horse that doesn't feel safe makes people feel unsafe to be around that horse with good reason, right? Horses that don't feel safe are going to act out. They're not going to know you're there. They're going to step on you. They're going to walk over you. And that horse looking for a treat can lead to a lot of safety issues. Like,
Right,
where's the
just
treat?
like you said, not spatially oriented. That thing is more important than body awareness.
Or awareness of your space, your
Exactly.
personal space. And that's why some people like, I never hand feed treats is for that reason. But I go, that's just bad timing on the
It is,
treats.
it is. It's the
Hmm.
timing of it all. I agree with that.
Yeah, because when you use treats for bribes, you can actually put the nervous system in the fight flight dominance because
That's what I was seeing.
yeah, you can build
Almost to the point of
aggression.
aggression. It
Hmm.
was. It was aggression. pinning the ears. And I was like, yeah, no, not here.
Yeah. Give me the
Don't do
frickin'
that.
treat, lady. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, no.
Where's my treat? Yeah.
But, and it's amazing to me how, and we see things so much more subtly because everybody says we're so boring.
Oh my
But
God. That's kind of why I wanted to do a podcast on this
everybody
topic.
says we're so boring
Yeah.
when
I
we're
go the
working with horses and people.
Yeah, I go around the world. The criticism I get of my
Hmm.
work is that it's boring. And I'm okay with that because I
I'm
go,
okay with that too, because we're getting internal changes.
well, not only that, but wouldn't boring be preferable over pushing horses too much, abusing horses, really
Mm.
having to use leverage and force on horses? I go, boring is a better alternative than a
Hmm.
lot of what I see in the horse world trying to push results in training with horses. I go, so,
Push results. Ooh,
mhm,
that's a big one. That's huge. And I just see it a simple thing, us being boring, is I'm watching for, say, I'm long lining a horse and I'm asking for an upward transition. Does that horse
get excited.
go get excited?
Yeah,
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 that's, and I'm looking at that. I'm not looking at you need to stay in trot no matter what.
right.
It's where does the mind go when it's the same thing with people.
Hmm.
Where does the mind go when I innervate with a stimulus of some kind?
Right.
Do we
Or
stay calm?
sometimes the stimulus just is an incoming bomb to your situation. It's like
Yeah.
the neighbors just lob this situation at you that's very stimulating that you didn't expect. And it's
It's
like,
kind of like
oh,
I shared about my big mare that she used to be airs above the ground,
mhm.
and there was that one day the UPS truck's coming, the dogs are running, and she's like, "Nope, I am right here with you. That doesn't matter anymore." And that's like, "Oh, I love this boring part. This is
No,
great."
and she's a great example that she was so easily overstimulated and
Yes.
so reactive that she was unsafe, sometimes even on the ground. And
Yes.
where you and I started with her was at the end of a lunge line. Can you
20 feet.
just, yeah, 20 feet
Get
away because
away.
she was big, powerful, and unpredictable.
Mhm. Yep.
So 20 feet
Scary.
away, can you just halt?
Stay there.
Can
Just,
you, and can you just focus on me and not be so distracted?
yep.
And I think we worked on that the first time for at least an hour, and she never quite got there.
Never came off of it. Never
Right.
came.
And I
Yeah.
think it took at least a month for
At
her to
least.
just, like multiple sessions, for her to just go, all I have to do is stand here.
Mhm.
That's it. All you have to do is stand here. You can move a little bit, then I'm going to ask you to halt. You can move a little bit, I'm going to ask you to halt. You can look over there, I'm going to ask you to look back at me. Right?
Right.
Look over there, I'm going to ask you again, look back at me. And that is just I kind of came up with that exercise working with lame horses as much as really unsafe horses, right? So it doesn't matter
Right.
if we don't trust the horse because it's now a big fat safety issue. Or I go, what do you do with a horse that's had an injury or had surgery? And this is classic. They've been on stall rest now
They're
for a
so
month,
dangerous.
right? And the vet
Yeah.
goes, just hand walking 10 minutes a day, right? And you're like, easier said than
uh,
done. I now have
well,
this
and some of
horse.
us think or not think, I don't know what it is, that it's going to be easy.
Right, because my
But these
horse used to
horses,
hand walk. My horse
my,
just used to hand walk just fine. He's now been in a
yeah,
stall confinement for 30 days and is starting
right.
to feel better. So now you have a healthy
That's the
horse.
scary part. That's
Yeah,
the scary part.
yeah. And
Yeah.
so I've worked like that specific sort of exercise that we did with your mare for safety reasons. I go, it's the only way I can work with horses that have, had lameness
Mhm.
issues or they've just come out of colic surgery or some surgery, and you
Right.
can't let them go bananas. Like you've got
Right.
to keep it a controlled walk. And so those horses, I start the sort of, can you just stand still, look at me, and calm down while they're still in the stall before I
Right.
even take them out. I go, because I'm not going to get in this tussle. Like it cracks me up every time, and it really cracks me up when I do it myself. But horses are so cooperative most of the time that we forget how big and powerful they are. And if it comes down to it, they are going to trounce us. If they want to take off, they're
I
going to take
agree.
off.
We forget, you're so right. And I just had a wake up call with this new horse because boy, have I been slipping with my horses that I'm with every day. I am on like high alert around this guy. He's got four shoes. I'm like, where am I? What am I doing? And I'm like, oh, I should be doing this every time I'm around a horse.
Yeah, that awareness. Yeah,
Yeah.
without fear, but just being aware.
Just know
Absolutely.
where my body is, their body is. Where's the stall door? Is it locked?
Right.
All those things matter.
No, and if I can see a horse, like if they're not calm, highly distracted or aggressive, really tense or really anxious, it doesn't matter. I can start, and I actually did. There was a horse I worked with, an Arabian that had had OCD lesion surgery on his hock. So lots of stall rest, but otherwise a healthy horse. So, and he didn't like the stall in the first place. He was out
Oh,
most of the
wow.
time. And so it was like, what am I doing stuck in the stall for weeks and weeks and weeks? And when the vet said, go ahead and start hand walking him, the owner was like, he just keeps rearing. And he's like, this is getting dangerous. And he won't walk. He just wants to blow up. And so we worked on that starting in the stall. Can we just be so boring that the nervous system, that instead of using movement and physical activity to release stress and
Right.
resolve it, you can focus the mind in order to get to the same place. So, a horse that's physically injured, the only thing we have to reduce stress is concentrated mental focus.
Right. And it's been my savior, because
Hmm.
that's something if you have that connection, that you can apply that anywhere.
Yeah,
Wherever you go with your horse, like, no, no, this is basics of
right.
boring safety.
Right. And
And
that's sort
yeah.
of tells me when I need to back off any development or
Mm,
positive stress. It shows me when positive stress turns into negative stress.
that's a good one.
And what positive stress to me is not boring and not leaving a calm state. Like then
Okay.
I'm in the window of positive stress. If it's too boring, I can add stress, right? We
Right.
feel so safe. The horses, well, here's the difference between people and horses. Horses love to be bored. Watch them all day, right? I go, the
Oh,
wind
look at
kicks
them
up,
eating grass.
they run around, something happens, they have 5 minutes of not calm, and then they're back to grazing,
They
resting,
seek it. And
hanging out with their buddy.
we should be seeking that also. And it's interesting what you said because when I put hands on people, you never know, and I imagine with horses, how far you can go. I mean, it could be something very simple where I put a hand on somebody and you can just see the change in their face. Oh,
Mm. The
fear's
body
coming
goes
up.
rigid. Yeah.
Yeah. And we've really got to be looking for those things.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I asked a question. What am I getting as a response? Is it a nice, boring response? Like, yeah, let me try that. Or is it, oh my God, oh my God. And
What did
their
I
eyes are
hear?
bulging.
What did I hear recently? I can't remember where I read this or saw that heard it, but it was like that feeling of bracing for impact.
Yeah, it's the
I
whole body
go,
contracts. I can feel it, or the breath stops.
yeah.
tightening of the neck, whatever. I can feel it. You might not see it.
So that feeling of bracing for impact
Mm-hmm.
is that crossing over from feeling safe, right? So I go, if we are bracing for impact, we're now creating negative stress on the body, the
Yes.
mind, thoughts, emotions, everything. So that feeling, whether it's a little or a lot, whether it's mild and subtle or
Mm-hmm.
extreme and severe, as soon as that we see it in the horse or we feel it in ourselves, it's like,
Right.
I just loved that phrase because I go, it doesn't matter if we're mad or scared,
No, it's the
right?
the body does the same thing.
Right. I go, it's just this sort of bracing for impact and
Yep.
our mental focus and our awareness narrows. Like
It's the
we
tunnel vision of
actually
it all.
we
Mm-hmm.
close off so that we can focus on survival. And so
Right.
we're kind of unaware in that state. And so when I see or feel that bracing for impact look, right? I go, okay, we need to move back towards boring, right? We
Yeah.
need to start moving back
Circle
towards
back to
boring.
what is comfortable for the horse or
Right.
person and working
Exactly.
with people. And you never know what that is or what's going to trigger it.
No, and like I had a rider last weekend who was riding one of her horses, but he frustrates her. And she was going to kind of quit riding him, have the trainer ride him. And I said, it's a good opportunity to sort of develop the tools because all horses will frustrate you at some point, right?
Yes.
I think it was Jean-Luc. It used to crack me up. Jean-Luc Cornille would say, horses frustrate us endlessly. They cost a fortune, and we get 5 minutes of happiness once a month, and we love horses. And it's like, yeah, that's kind of it in a
Eh,
nutshell.
yeah.
They
Yeah.
frustrate us all the time. So the problem wasn't because this particular horse, who is still pretty defensive, when he feels the rider get defensive, he
Mm.
doubles down,
Double down.
right? He doubles down because he's like, uh-oh. I now have a human who's losing control. I feel less safe, not more safe, right? And that's energetic. We can't fake it. And so
Exactly.
we worked a little bit with the mechanics of what she was doing because when her buttons were pushed, I go, you're trying to push on the brake accelerator and use the steering wheel all at the same time.
Right.
I go pick one. If he stops, you need the accelerator. If he's moving and rushing, you need the steering wheel, right? Or maybe the brakes.
Right.
But I go, you wouldn't drive your car. I guess when we panic, we do things like that. Hit the brake, hit the accelerator, or do
Put
something
on the
wrong,
flashers.
right? Or we jerk the steering wheel around when we get
We get
scared.
hyper sensitive, and that creates the tunnel vision.
Right.
Yeah.
So what we did to work through it in that lesson was let him give her a little bit of trouble, and I could see her stress level go from positive to negative,
Mhm.
right? So she had a little success in controlling herself, and then I just took the horse's reins. I was on the ground, so I stood there and held the horse, which helps people feel safe. And I said, let's just stop and take a breather. And we stood there. It took her about 5 or 10 minutes for me to see the body language change, right? Where that brace for impact look just sort of finally dissipated and she looked calm again and she could focus. And I said, okay, now we're ready for the next round. And in the course of one lesson, she was able to think, I need the brake, I need the accelerator, I need the steering wheel. He was still doing
Right.
all the same defensive moves. He would, but instead of her taking it personally,
Oh, that's a
she
big one.
she just kind of started to figure out, I need this tool, I need that tool, I need that tool in this moment, and then it kept changing rapidly. So it's like even that rapid avoidance behavior can sort of make us brace for impact, right?
Right.
So I go, the challenge in developing yourself as a rider is to stay in a calm state and just give the leg aid. Stay in a calm state. Use the reins to turn or steer or stop, right? And then let the
Yeah.
horse, right? But if we
I
can't handle that, we can't do it.
We have to be aware of the changes that are going on in us
Right.
with this. Yeah, that's the thing. I get on and I say to myself all the time, are my all my joints open and available? So I'm available. And sometimes I find myself even asking for a turn. I'll tighten a shoulder. And I'm like, why am I doing that?
And that's a much more refined version of what I'm
Yeah.
talking about. But when people
Yeah.
are like, she was starting to get mad at this horse, taking it kind of
Wow.
personally. And what that is, when we get frustrated and mad, that's us going into our fight, flight, nervous
It
system
is. We're
dominance.
going inward.
Well, we're going into survival mode.
Yeah.
And so a horse in survival and a human in survival are opposite instincts. So you go, well, you just know that's not going to work. Like,
No, it's not.
try it a million times. I did. Still not going to work. Right. And it isn't until we can override our
Yes.
instincts and maintain self-control, self-regulate our own nervous system,
Yes.
then we're going to take appropriate action,
I
right?
agree.
Without overstimulating the horse in the process. And so
Yeah,
I go, until we can do that, it's very difficult to help the horse be able to do that.
I agree. I have to constantly check in, and
Hmm.
just with luckily with all my training, I can access it quickly. Or I think we forget we have a choice. We can walk away
We can
until
stop. We can
we
take a
can
fresh
stop.
start. Yeah,
Yeah, we
yeah,
can stop and go, wait a minute, I need a timeout.
yeah,
I need, because I'm not in a position that I'm helping the horse whatsoever.
right.
Yeah.
And so she sort of the first round, I look at it as rounds or cycles. The first round, she shifted from positive stress to negative stress, but managed to just be on that threshold enough that she could think her way through it and guide the horse, right?
Mhm.
And so I go, what's more boring than stopping? So I go, stop.
Just
I
stop.
held the horse for her to help her feel safe so the horse wouldn't suddenly walk off or start round two before she was ready,
Right.
right? So I'm there supporting, and then we're just waiting. Kind of like, if we do nothing but something very boring, that expedites the nervous system or the person or the horse feeling safe again.
Right.
I go, so those mini breaks, when things are getting carried away, those pauses and mini
Mhm.
breaks are super important just to regulate our own nervous system
Yeah.
every time the horse pushes our ever last freaking button, which is what they specialize in,
Right.
right? They know how to be button pushers. And I go, and what I find hilarious is some horses, and this guy was one of them, when they can push a human's emotional button,
Mm.
they just keep pushing it. They're like, watch this, boink, boink,
And
boink.
there and if we can separate that from enmeshment and it being personal, because it's not personal.
No,
It
it's their
really,
survival mechanism.
right. It's not a
Mhm.
personal, they're not, oh, my horse is embarrassing me in front of everybody, kind of thing. It's like,
Yeah.
no, it's not. They don't see it that way.
No, they're just trying to survive.
Yeah.
When horses are not in a cooperative state, because
Mhm.
a horse feeling cooperative is the result of the parasympathetic nervous system dominating rest and digest. When the rest and digest nervous system is dominating internally, you always get a reasonably calm energy as a result. You
Right.
always get the ability to focus on one thing instead of a gazillion things. You get more responses than reactions, right?
I think, boy, that's a key. Is it a response or a reaction?
Yeah, that's the bracing for impact thing,
The
right?
bracing.
Because if you're bracing for impact, you're reacting. If the
Yeah.
horse is bracing for impact, they're reacting. That is part of survival mode, which
Mhm.
tells us internally, even though we can't see it, that means the fight flight nervous system is running the show.
Mhm. Right.
So we need to move towards feeling safe again, which means don't add stimulation, reduce it, make it more
Circle
boring,
back. I always say
circle
circle
back.
back.
Yeah.
Circle back
How
to
can I
where
take,
everything was working.
right?
Yeah, circle back. And it's kind of like I add that little bubble of a new experience and I wait. Am I getting a positive or negative response?
Yeah.
And then I make a decision on, are we still going to work on upward transitions, or do we teaching them that an upward transition can come
Is
from a
no big
calm
deal.
state?
Yeah.
It can come from a calm state. And instead of that thought of, oh, he's got to keep trotting, and then the excitatory phase and the unsafeness comes into the equation.
Or even snarky horses that lack forward,
Oh, yeah,
right? I go,
I've
they
got one
get
like that.
angry when you make an upward,
Angry. Yeah,
angry when you make an upward
angry.
transition. And I go, the more you repeat the transitions, I go, let him break, ask again.
Yeah,
Let him break, ask again. What could
ask
be more
again.
boring than that,
Exactly.
right? And then pretty soon, couple strides a trot, couple strides a canter, they go, okay, I'm not angry anymore.
Exactly.
And or I'm not anxious and scared of going faster anymore.
Right.
And what I find is once the horse feels safe, right? And we're talking all three speeds, both directions, or all gaits, both directions. I go, the only other thing on their list of things to do is to feel comfortable. So once horses
Right.
feel safe, which takes a lot of boring work, then they start reorganizing their own coordination. They naturally seek balance when after they feel safe.
Right.
But but you can't get them to balance if they don't feel safe because the physiology of that situation overrides any ability to manage or change their coordination. They're going to use habits at that point or they're going to use instincts.
And I've also seen with those situations, if we keep pushing and pushing and pushing and the horse goes into the sympathetic state, some other things may occur. Horse might get ulcers.
That's the effect of negative stress. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's health
Or
effects.
all of a
There's,
sudden I have a lameness problem.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's
And
where when positive stress, which is calm, focused energy, no matter what
mhm,
you're doing, it's a
exactly.
calm, focused energy and a challenge equals positive stress, right? It's
Right.
not easy. A gazillion mistakes are being made. You're having to redo it 1,000 times, but you're in the window of positive stress. And as soon as you tip into negative stress, that's where you're going to get your tendon and ligament injuries. That's
Mhm,
where you're going to get ulcers. That's where you're going to get, patterns of unsafe behavior or concussive
exactly.
issues from bad coordination that result in lameness. Like all the things we don't want are the result of too much negative stress.
Right.
I go, if you slip into it once in a while and you know how to find your way back, it's no big deal. But a lot of like in training, I just see all the time that if it's not in a state of what we're calling negative stress, then we're not progressing. We're not
And
making
we've
progress.
had I've had people discontinue working with me
Mm,
because they
me too. I'm way too
yeah,
boring, way
I'm
too
way too
slow.
boring. We're not progressing.
I'm holding them back.
Yeah, I I have had people leave me and saying that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, and if people say that on my YouTube channel, I go, you don't have to watch.
Yep.
Like, if it's that boring, go find another channel.
Yeah.
Because working on the inside feels so different than what it
Oh,
looks like.
I
I
mean,
had
if
another
everybody
client.
could just go get some Alexander lessons and feel
And
what it feels like to not be in that agitated state all the time.
it's harder than it looks.
Oh, yeah. I
So I
mean,
had,
after 10 lessons, you're like, oh my God, I know nothing.
right? And you're disoriented.
Yeah, you are. You're like, I'm total out of body experience. I don't know what's going on.
So I had an interesting thing happen with a client, and we were working on her horse's balance. We actually had more of a focus that day on her balance, right? So we refined her balance a little bit as a rider. We weren't too focused on the horse and just doing some simple exercises at the walk. And so I said to her, what does balance feel like to you when you're, because I would point out these are the steps. Yes, that's it there. And then I always ask people, what does that feel like to you? Because everybody has a different answer.
Right.
And the first thing she said was, I'm so busy. I'm adjusting all over the place. And I'm looking at her from the ground, and she finally looks stable. She finally looks soft and
Oh, instead
stable.
of being the tense thing on top of it, she finally figured it out.
Or usually from the ground, I'm seeing where the horse is pushing the rider up on one side of the pelvis.
Right.
The rider's tightening one leg or a shoulder, or they're out of balance, and I can see it
Right.
from the ground. And she was just doing a beautiful job of looking quietly immobile, very soft, but very stable. And that's what balance looks like when people achieve it. And I go, what does it feel like to you? She's like, I'm all over the place. She goes, I feel like I'm adjusting every stride. And I said,
Interesting.
yes, that's what it feels like. And when you do it appropriately, nobody sees you do that, but you feel very busy,
You
right?
are internally busy.
So I said, what you're feeling is how to keep your balance on a moving force of nature, on the forces of motion. And so I go, okay, now what does balance feel like? I asked her again a little bit later, and she goes, this is hard. She goes, I thought it was light and soft like I felt last time. And I go, no, light and soft is what you get when the horse balances.
Right.
I said, if the horse is out of balance and you're keeping your balance, you're describing it very accurately. You're busy,
You're
making
very busy.
a million little subtle adjustments, even in a slow
Mhm.
walk. Like it was,
Yeah.
her horse was walking and it was all happening faster than her brain could process.
There's the boring part.
Looks boring.
It looks boring, but on internally, you're sweating.
You're basically barely able to keep up with the
I
rate
agree.
at which
I
horses
agree.
change. Yeah. So she goes, you know, difficult, and I'm constantly adjusting and it feels difficult. So it was no longer boring for her to walk around on her horse. She had a full-time job she could barely do, right? And
Interesting.
then we added an accurate path of travel to that mix. We're
Wow.
still at the walk, walking a rectangle around four cones, and it was maximum capacity
Yeah,
because
I understand.
she was finally feeling how rapidly the horse was changing, even in the walk, and how to guide the horse, not only steering, but using a path of travel to improve the horse's balance. That's what I call steering.
Right.
Not just getting around point A to point B any old way. It's like, nope, here's how we improve the horse's balance through steering. And all of a sudden, I like the people at the barn look at the lesson and go, that's the most boring lesson I've ever
You're
seen,
paying for that?
right? You're paying for that. I actually had someone say that at a barn, like, I can't believe she gets paid for that.
I know.
I'm like, it took over 20 years to be able to work like this. Are you kidding me?
Kidding me?
Yeah.
I get
But
it.
as soon as the rider actually develops the balance, then the feel is almost immediate. Once
And
balance
then the timing gets
stabilizes,
better.
and then the timing is
Timing
what
gets better.
fries our
Yeah,
brain.
it's fantastic.
Well, it's like even at the walk, the timing is faster than the human brain can process. And
Oh,
so
I agree.
we slip from thinking into feeling. That's what a refined
Mhm.
rider is no longer thinking, give leg aid, boink. right? Give
Right.
rein aid.
It's just you, it's an internal adjustment.
Yeah, you feel it. And it becomes much more like adjusting like a surfer than
Yeah,
thinking mechanically like a puppeteer, right?
exactly.
And so it's a just an amazing transition for the rider. I never get tired of people
When it
figuring that
happens,
when it happens.
I
And
know it's
everybody,
great.
you knew exactly what I meant because you
Oh yeah.
go, "Oh, you're so busy at the walk, you can hardly keep
Yeah.
up."
It's like
Yeah.
nothing else exists. I'm so tuned in
Yeah. And it's
to every little,
fast.
it's fast.
It's fast. I go, horses adjust their balance every single stride. So a slow walk is the rate at which the human can start to learn about horse balance.
Exactly.
Once you add speed, and I tell people this, I go, the coordination doesn't require speed to change.
Right.
And slowing it down, making it more boring, actually allows us to start to feel the
Mm-hmm.
subtle changes before they get big.
Yep.
But then when you add speed, I go, I don't care how fast I go. I'm not going to be left-handed by going faster. I'm a right-handed person. You're a left-handed person.
Right.
I go, running a million circles as fast as we can isn't going to change that coordination.
Right.
So if we want to change that coordination, it takes me twice as long to use the muck fork that I use all the time.
I know.
It's now gonna,
I
I'm
hear
gonna
that
have
all the
to
time.
really slow down to brush my teeth with my left hand, right? That's not
Yep.
gonna be fast, but once I go slow enough to develop the coordination, and
Right.
I have to feel safe to do that, right?
And
So
that
it,
brings in a lot of factors.
because even if I'm in a hurry, if I'm late for an appointment,
Right.
that's not going to be the day I try to brush my
No,
teeth with
it's
my left
that
hand.
when we bring in that time factor, I even tell people just start being aware of what hand you grab the doorknob with.
Right.
Just something that simple.
And if you're
It's
either
huge.
feeling anxious or tense, even if it's future or past,
Right.
you're no longer going to even consider. You're now on autopilot. So you're going to,
And you're tensing. You immediately your body tenses
hmm
somewhere, if not
yeah.
everywhere.
Well, every time we brace for impact, that tells
Yep.
us we are skating into unhealthy levels of stress, negative
Yep.
stress, and we're not going to change any habit of coordination in that mode. And I go,
Exactly.
that's fine. We're dependent on whatever the strongest neural pathways are. We're dependent on instinct or well-established habits as soon as we're not bored. As soon as we start
Exactly.
to question our safety, as soon as we escalate stress to the point that it becomes unhealthy. I
Right.
go, little bit of stress, very healthy, very strengthening. But where is that line of too much?
Yeah, and
And
it
I
can
cross
be in
it.
such simple practices to trigger you. Like I said, just going to the door and opening it. You might not even realize that you're tensing around that.
Yeah. Or if we think of like my road is busy where my arena is. So yesterday, this mini motorcycle came brrr down the road and it's super loud, and this little kid's hauling ass. And the horse I was working reacted to that.
Mhm.
So I go, okay, that was not boring, but he went into unhealthy levels of stress. He reacted to it, switched nervous systems that fast.
That
So
fast.
I go, okay, there's the stimulus. And I go, I hope that kid keeps going up and down the road because we're going to ignore it. And we're just going to treat it as another boring part of working here in the arena. So
Exactly.
instead of working on trot, which stimulated him a little bit, I said, let's just stay at the walk and let that motorcycle go up and down the road
Yep.
as much as it wants
Yep.
until pretty soon he could handle the motorcycle going up and down the road. Little, what is it? What are those high cylinder like dirt bikes? It's like a
It's probably a
wee, really loud noise, right? And so it was the sound, it was the movement, it was the
Right,
unexpectedness. So I go, how can I make his work more boring, right? How can I keep his focus on me? How can I keep the work easy enough that he's not overstimulated by what I'm asking on top of this unplanned training opportunity that's driving up and down the street,
right.
right? And so that's he could get back to
To
a
the boring.
calm
Yeah,
state, a calm, focused state, even with that not changing. And I go,
right.
great, that's one
But
more lesson.
you have to bring them back and allow them to find that. You have to create the space.
Yeah. And I think people, when they think of something being boring, I think they think of anxiety. When something's
Huh.
boring, there's like a pressure, an internal pressure to do something. And I go,
That's yeah, that's
that
ego.
means, that
Hmm.
kind of means that your body feels safe, but your nervous system isn't regulated. Does that
They're
make
not talking
sense?
to it's the it's just yeah, it makes sense to me because we seek stimulus to addictive state.
Yes.
And and if we're seeking that with our horses, that's just not a healthy conversation.
No, and horses can become addicted to adrenaline and
Yeah, the
cortisol and
horse that I just got in is an ex racehorse, so that sums up
yeah.
where his brain and me just going and standing in the paddock with him with a halter. Just
Yeah,
this
I
is
did
it.
that
This is what we're doing
whole
for a while.
and I did that entire workbook with all the exercises from catching a horse to trailer loading to farrier prep, vet prep, how to teach a horse to tie or cross tie, how to pick up the feet, a whole workbook on what I call basic handling, because those are things we have to do with every horse we own or care for.
Right.
And they should be mundane and boring.
Boring. Very boring.
And how many times am I called in to help horses who won't take a dewormer, who can't get a needle, IV or IM, who are terrible for the vet, who have to be sedated for whatever, right? Who kick the
Hmm.
owner or step on their toes when you're trying to pick feet, who bite the owner when you're brushing them, right? I go, all of that means your horse is not bored. Your horse is in,
A sympathetic state.
right, unhealthy stress or
Hmm.
too much stress. And so, what we call naughtiness or bad behavior in those basic handling tasks that we have to do with horses, in domestic horses all the time, it's like if the horse doesn't think those are so boring that they just kind of, okay, whatever, then that's where we can start training.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Because it's taking it to the next level is probably not going to be safe.
right.
Yeah.
No, and I've done many, many, many training sessions where the horse doesn't leave the barn because there's safety
Hmm.
issues in just getting the horse ready to ride.
Right.
And I go, let's resolve those because if we don't resolve them, your horse is carrying a grudge out to the arena, already
Exactly.
defensive, or your horse is already amping up that anxiety before you put a foot in the stirrup.
Exactly.
So I go, it just is only going, as you add stimulation, whatever you have is just going to magnify. Right? And
Yep.
people go, oh, let the horse get tired. And I go, that's one
Doesn't
strategy. Lunge the horse
never worked for
first.
me. Never
It
worked for
won't work
me.
for some horses, but I go, that's only one strategy. What do you do if your horse has been on stall confinement and you can't lunge them? Now what do you do?
Yeah.
Right? Or what do you do if you try to lunge your horse and they charge you? Now what are you going to do? Right? And it's like you can't groundwork your horse into relaxation all the time. Sometimes it's not possible, and sometimes it doesn't work. So I go, what else are you going to do? And
Yep.
that question, if our objective is transitioning nervous system dominance, as soon as that became the question in my mind, right? That's where
Yeah.
I go, oh, the less I ask the horse to do,
Mhm.
the sooner they get calm. And if I make something really boring, they calm down faster.
Yep.
So I go, boring is a great tool I use all the
Safety.
time. Well, or to help, even if I feel safe, this was a big epiphany to me as a professional trainer. Just because I can ride a fearful horse, and that was sort of keeping up with the cowboys, being able to stick
Hmm.
on anything. It's like a Girl Scout badge of horse trainers. It's like you get your badge in being able to stay on a horse that's bucking, rearing, bolting, being terrible.
Hmm.
And one day it occurred to me, why am I riding this horse that's in such a state of fear that they feel the need to go to this extreme?
Exactly.
Why, how can I call myself a horse trainer if all I'm doing is managing fear? I go, that's not a trainer, that's a really good jockey. I
Right.
go, okay, being a good jockey might be part of being a trainer, but I go, a trainer to me educates a horse, helps the horse, develops the horse, right? I go, that to me is a trainer. And I'm like, why am I doing this?
Right.
Right?
Yep. I get it.
Yeah. And so I just took a really different approach. And when I realized, when the question became, how can I help this horse feel safe? Instead of how can I make this horse do what I want, right?
Oh,
Which is the trainer mentality. How do I get the horse to do what I
it's
want so he
because
does
that's
what the
not
owner wants?
boring.
Right. There's lots of excitement in that world.
Can I walk track canter? Oh, do we need to go there? I like boring.
Well, boring equals safety. Right. And
Hmm.
the last thing I want to talk about boring is working with riders who have fear issues about getting
Hmm.
on their horse. And for some people, it's related to an event where they got hurt by
Hmm.
that horse, and now they have fear of getting back on. For other people, I can't tell you the deep, dark secret of riders is that they never really feel safe on a horse. A lot of riders who start as adult riders
Mm.
have never experienced feeling 100% safe on a horse. They're just told to do this, do that, push through it, don't let the horse do that, blah, blah, blah. That's all you. You got to show him who's boss, be the leader,
Oh,
all
all
that
that.
crap, right?
Hmm.
And so the fear, that state of low-grade anxiety that might have been in the window of positive stress at one time, when it can accumulate.
Right.
And then people hit a place where their body is like shaking. They think they want to get on a
Right.
horse and the heart's pounding, they're sweating, their body's shaking, and it just becomes, I can't do it. The peripheral nervous system just takes over
Over. Hmm.
and says, no, there's too much stress related to that. You're going to die, so I'm not going to let you do it. And so the turnaround for all people that have developed a fear of getting on horses for the first time or getting on a horse for the millionth time, it doesn't matter. When fear comes up, fear comes up. And I go to the mounting block every single day, put your horse there, don't get on.
And it's that choice. It's the
Hmm.
choice. We have to give ourselves the choice.
Right,
When we have and it's a linear thought that it has to be this way,
right.
but
And I
that's not
go,
true.
and everybody has a different threshold. Some people go,
Exactly.
I'm absolutely fine standing next to my horse with the thought of
Hmm.
getting on. And I go, okay, put one foot in the stirrup. There's the
Where does that
threshold,
send you? Yeah.
right?
And
Or
play
put
with that.
put one foot in the stirrup and step halfway up, but don't put a leg over. How do
Yeah.
you feel about that? Right? And so it's standing there in that situation and doing absolutely nothing. That boring task
Hmm.
is what allows the the body to regain a sense of safety in
Hmm.
that context. And I go,
Yes.
if you can make it really repetitive and
Hmm.
really boring, what I find is once people authentically feel bored, the desire to get on increases.
Right.
When
It's
people are still fearful enough that it's not yet completely boring, then they still have anxiety about getting on.
Yep.
And so I go, what happens is the more boredom increases, the more the desire to get back on increases.
And
And
it's internal. I mean, it is so
oh yeah, and you
internal.
can't make it happen even in your own body.
No, you can't
Yeah.
make it. Mm-mm.
Yeah. And I laughed because I said the other day to somebody, I go, if the brain was really in charge, right? So people tell to visualize and think your way through fear, get back on the horse, right? And I go, if that really worked, humans would not have addictions. Like addictions are the one thing where the body is in control and proves to us that there are not only addictions, but there's probably many situations where the body is more in control than the brain.
Right.
The thoughts or visualization is not going to cut it. You got to change the nervous system state in order
Hmm.
to change what you want to change.
Agreed.
Yeah, I go because all addicts hit a point where you wish you didn't do it anymore mentally,
Hmm. You
but
can
your
have conversations.
but your body takes over and you're like,
Exactly.
whoa, that's very hard to overcome addictions. And addiction is just a big fat extreme version of any habit,
Oh, I agree.
any habit. And so even fear can become a habit, stress can become a habit. So how do we turn that around? Boring. We get
Boring.
boring. We get very boring. All right, you
Okay.
guys, we better wrap it up. Thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Thanks for liking, sharing, subscribing, downloading, all of that. It helps move the podcast around. And we landed on another list
We
of,
did.
yeah, actually, nobody asked me, but somebody sent me a link to Horse Business Magazine and we made the People's Choice Awards for horse-related podcasts. I
Send
thought that
that to
was
me.
very exciting. I'll send you
I'm
the
in the
link.
dark here.
I know. If somebody hadn't sent it to me, I wouldn't have
I
known
know we
either.
wouldn't
Yeah,
know.
we wouldn't know.
That's hysterical.
All
All
right.
right.
Thanks, everybody. See you
Bye.
next time. Bye bye.